This is Welsh ASMR 82. How you doing? So I'm just going to do a little video talking about when I started learning languages. I've done one or two similar videos, but I just thought it'd be nice and different to do it in this way, and I get to use my new toy as well. So, with regards to languages, the first language I ever learned was Welsh. Well, sorry, English. So I started off speaking English at home. So that is my mother tongue. English is my mother tongue. It's the language I spoke at home with my parents and my brother and sister, and also with my grandparents. But I later found out that my mother's grandparents spoke fluent Welsh as their first language and never taught it to their son, who was my grandfather. And he could understand it but not speak it, so that's why my mother didn't grow up speaking it. And then Welsh was my second language, because in Wales everyone starts learning Welsh immediately when they go into school. But in my case, it was just, learn the colours, learn how to say good morning and thank you. You couldn't have a full lesson in it or anything. It was very simple. So if I was 0 when I started hearing English at home, I went into nursery at 3 years old, I think. So nursery wasn't full-time education. In the UK we offer some, I think in America it's called kindergarten. And in the UK it's called nursery, and you usually do half a day, and then your parents come and pick you up. So English was first and Welsh was second. I'm going to do a different colour for this one. Am I technically... No, actually I'm going to change my mind on what my third language was. Because we went to Germany when I was 6. And before we went, my mum and dad taught me a little German, or my dad taught me a little German. And then for years after, even until today really, we just always as a household said thank you and you're welcome in German. It seems really weird, but every family's got its own little routines. We'd always say Dankeschön, bitteschön at home growing up. So that started, you can hear the wind outside, sorry. So I wasn't 11. I think I was 6. And the funny story about that is my dad drove to Germany from the UK. We went across on the boat, and when he was driving through France, I think he mixed up kilometers per hour and miles per hour and was pulled over by the police for speeding in France. And the French police spoke to him and they told him off, but they said, oh, you know, please don't do it again, and let him off. Yeah, so he always remembers that. He said I was sleeping apparently in the back of the car. My brother and sister and I were all asleep, and my dad apologized to the French policeman, and he felt that that was okay. So then, it's French. You blew for French to me. Be good if I spelled it correctly. Le français. So that was when I was 11, and that was my 4th experience of a language, because I definitely at this point could not speak fluent Welsh. We could only say a few words in German, auf Deutsch. Zum Beispiel, danke, bitte, dankeschön, bitteschön, guten Morgen, guten Abend, gute Nacht, etc., etc. Et donc, dans le français, je peux parler un peu le français aussi. Mais c'était après l'université quand j'ai appris le français. Parce que j'ai dû enseigner le français avec l'espagnol. Donc, c'était important pour moi pour améliorer mon français. Et d'accord, je peux comprendre bien le français, spécialement à cause de l'espagnol et de l'italien, du portugais, mais je n'aime pas parler beaucoup parce que je ne me sens assez quand j'ai beaucoup de confiance. Oh, mon estomac qui parle. Et puis, quand j'étais professeur de français, c'était bien parce que j'ai dû faire les mêmes choses toutes les semaines, comme asseyez-vous, taisez-vous s'il vous plaît, etc. Écrivez. Et voilà. Donc c'était bien et c'était facile. Mais maintenant, pour avoir une conversation en français, c'est assez difficile pour moi parce que je ne sais pas quoi dire. Je n'ai pas l'expérience d'habiter en France, donc oui, je me sens comme je n'ai pas beaucoup de confiance avec le français, mais bien. C'est clair que je comprends et je peux parler la langue avec des erreurs petites. So that's my French. You're lucky, I don't usually speak French. Okay, and then the magic happened, and I discovered my love, mi amor. el libro de español. I was 16. Very long story short, I finished I finished school. So in the UK we finished school at 16. And you can either do an apprenticeship in work for the next 2 years, or you can go to college. So that's why I find Americans calling university college quite confusing. Because in the UK you either stay in your school because it has something called a sixth form, where you can study at 16, 17 and then finish at 18. Or if it doesn't, like my school didn't, then you have to go to the local college. But you finish college at 18 to go to university. So that's where British English and American English muddle things up a little bit. I had a CD with the very first PC that my parents bought. This was in 1998. We had a PC in the house. It didn't have internet at that point. I think that happened a year or two later. Yes, kids. People didn't have it on their smartphones or on their PCs, and laptops were too expensive at the time. All people in their 30s know what I'm talking about, right? Anyway, it came with this free CD called, I can't remember what it's called. Linkword Language Systems, I think. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to learn Italian. And I put the CD in the holidays after I finished all my exams. Because you finish your exams in like May or June, and then you don't start college until September. And the Welsh summers weren't exactly full of sun, so I think it was quite rainy. Stayed in, and I put the CD in, and I thought, yes, I'm going to learn Italian. And they had all the flags, all the different languages you could learn. And I thought, oh, that flag looks like Italian, but it's got a really cool eagle in the middle. Let's click on that one. And of course it was Mexican Spanish. And in about 2 weeks, I had learnt every single word on the course. And I was hungry for more. I was desperate to learn more Spanish. I got out all my old gaming manuals, you know, from like Mega Drive games, and went to the part in Spanish and tried to work out what was being said and looked at the translation in English. Then I bought a second CD, and then I decided that when I went to college I was going to change my subjects and take Spanish, which is really unusual for anyone to do, like a new subject, but they let me. And then I decided I hated all of the other subjects I was doing, like media studies and sociology. And then I just fell in love with Spanish, and I did it at university. So it was at that point I also dropped everything and decided I wanted to do Welsh. And I did a bit of French as well. So I was doing English language, Welsh, Spanish and French at college. Y claro, no tengo problemas con el español. Me encanta hablarlo, aunque no tengo muchas oportunidades en este momento. Pero he hablado en otro vídeo que tengo que utilizar mi español más para que no lo olvide, que es muy importante para mí, porque el español es uno de mis idiomas, claro, favoritos, sin duda. Y me encanta España. Me encantaba vivir en España y quiero visitar otros países en el mundo hispanohablantes, como México, como Argentina o Colombia. si hay la posibilidad en el futuro. Y sí, me encanta el español y fue mi primer amor, como los idiomas así. Y eso para mí a los 16 años es realmente el principio de donde empezaba este viaje de aprender muchos idiomas. So I realized I could learn languages at this age, at 16, because I did it through grammar. And then I applied that rule to every other language from then on in. So when I got to university, they said that I had to choose between Portuguese and Russian. And I wanted to do both. And they said, no, you'll have to go and speak in that language to the teacher to prove that you're not a beginner. We don't allow people to do two beginner languages in the same year. And although I'd learnt Russian myself at home for a year, I was too scared to speak to the Russian teacher in Russian, so I pretended I couldn't speak it. I'm really angry with myself now. Because in the second year, when I did ab initio Russian, I got a first in Russian. It was one of my better subjects. So next. It's actually, oh no, I wasn't 22. I was 18, 19, excuse me. Most people go to university at 18, but because I dropped all my subjects and started again with languages, I went at 19. Gosto muito do português, mas como francês eu não tenho muita confiança em falar o português. Mas também, como eu disse, como espanhol, eu tenho que encontrar oportunidades para falar mais. Eu tenho um companheiro no trabalho que é de Portugal e falamos um pouco de espanhol, de português juntos. E isso porque eu tenho um sotaque um pouco brasileiro, um pouco português, porque agora eu não sei o que falo. Mas quando eu estava na universidade, eu pensava que o português era a minha língua favorita, melhor. E por isso eu voglio, isso é italiano, eu quero muito praticar o português para falar assim como eu falava quando eu estava na universidade. Let's do black. So, Portuguese in university in year 1. And this is where Russian comes in. So I must be 20. I've not left much room here. 20 years old. And like I said, I started Russian. I could already read and write it, and I knew all of the basics. And I loved it, and I was really hungry to learn and to prove that I could have done it in the first place. So I did very well at it. And those of you who've supported this channel for a while know that I have another channel just for Russian videos, ASMR videos, and it's Welsh ASMR 82_Russian. Мне нравится русский язык. По-моему, русский язык очень трудный язык, но фантастический, красивый язык. Мне нравится. Мне нравится грамматика. Грамматика по-русски очень трудная. Но я думаю, что это мне нравится. И потому что мне нравится, потому что это трудное. Тоже мне нравится алфавит. И мне интересно русская история и культурно. Мне нравится узнать русская культура и русская история, когда я делаю видео по-русски. И спасибо большое вам за поддержку, когда я говорю очень плохо по-русски. Спасибо большое. So my Russian subscribers always help me with my grammar and my vocab, and also pronunciation as well. So Russian was at 20, and then green. I spent a year in Spain in 2005, and therefore I would have been 19, 20, 21. I was only 21, crikey. 19 I would have been 20, 20 I would have been 21. I'm going to say 21. Maybe I was 22, I can't remember. So I did some Arabic at home. By this point I was learning all sorts of languages at home. This is more of a formal language thing because I've been doing a bit of Dutch, Danish, maybe a tiny bit of Italian. I started buying loads of books at this point. Chinese, Japanese, but I'll come to them. Oh, I forgot about that. So actually, my first year of university, when these happened, I also did courses, evening classes, in the college that I used to study in Chinese and Japanese. So I wonder if this will work. Oh my god, it does. That is mega cool. Okay, so Chinese was 20, as was Russian. And in my second year, I started Japanese in an evening class. I was supposed to do it in my first year. Oh no, I was 19. Okay. So Chinese was my first year of university. Did Japanese, but they cancelled the course because there weren't enough students, and I came back a year later. So I'd started Russian in university then. I was in my second year of evening classes in Chinese, and my first year, because they had quite a lot of people interested, that second year. So Japanese did go ahead. So that was at 20, and then Arabic was in Spain in my third year of university. So obviously I couldn't do Chinese and Japanese and Russian and Portuguese. I was doing Spanish every day, all day long, and I did some Arabic in university in Spain, in University of Murcia in southeastern Spain. So Chinese, I was a Chinese teacher in school because my Chinese got quite good, but there's like this barrier, this glass ceiling with Chinese that I'm at a certain level, but I still can't understand Chinese on TV or read a book in Chinese like I can with languages I'm a lot worse at. That's a massive jump in Chinese, but GCSE Chinese, what the exam you do when you're 16 years old, is really easy, and my pupils got really good grades. I was very happy. So yeah, my Chinese isn't amazing, but it was absolutely good enough to help them to get through and do very well, because although my Chinese isn't good enough compared to my Spanish, it doesn't have to be to get a grade at GCSE in the UK. 我会说中文，但是我不知道怎么说。我想说中文，不知道，我想每天说中文，但是我没有和一个人说。但是我知道，我觉得，我每天听中文歌，我觉得这个好。Japanese I started again recently on Duolingo, and I surprisingly remember a lot. I can say things like 私の名前は Welsh ASMR 82 です. What else can I say? 私 Wales です. I'm trying to think of how to say my job is fun, but I can't. 仕事は重いです. Is amoy interesting? Maybe. Hajimemashite. Pleased to meet you. Shinkansen. Bullet train. Eki. Station. Eki ga doku desu? Doku desu ka? Where is the train station? And then Arabic. Gosh, Arabic is an insanely difficult language. I've been doing it for years and I'm still very basic. I really don't feel like I can say much at all. I'm not good. Al-Arabiya. Lugha. Gosh, my Arabic's terrible. What sort of language is it? Lugha Jamila Jiddan. Very beautiful. Certainly written down, it's absolutely beautiful. Okay. So 21. So what happened next? So I'd done all those. I think that's kind of it for the formal studies. I tried to do a lesson in Italian, but they were overprescribed, so I couldn't go after one lesson. So I kept trying to do Italian, but now I'm doing it every day. I really enjoy Italian. I'm trying to think of any other classes I've been to. I'm just looking over at my bookshelf to inspire me. Hang on. Oh yeah, Korean. So I decided to do Korean lessons myself. this can count. So I've been to Korea 4 times. I love it. I love the people. I love the culture. I really love the food. The country is just great. So it's probably, I think it's when I moved to England at 30, we decided we were going to go to Korea on a visit, and I got a tutor to help me because I was going to do an exam and I never ended up doing the exam. But it still counts, right? So, Korean. I mean, my Korean's weird. Again, I can't read books or newspapers in Korean. But if I listen to a song or watch a program on Netflix or something, I can really understand the gist of quite a lot. But if you ask me to translate everything, I wouldn't be able to. The major thing you need to know for Korean programs on Netflix is 빨리. 빨리. It means hurry up or quick. As they always say 빨리 all the time. Oh, and 시. They go 시 for 시발, which means it's the F word. 시발. All the time. Or they just go 시, which is like saying f. So that's all you need to know. You could also say 사랑해. I love you. 사랑해. Or you could say 소주 한 병 주세요. Please give me a bottle of Korean liquor. 맥주 한 잔 주세요. Can I have a beer, please? I mean, you just need to know these things, right? You could say 감사합니다. Thank you very much. 안녕하세요. Hello. 안녕히 계세요. Goodbye. What else? 예뻐요. That's beautiful. 대박. Awesome. Yeah, stuff like that. So that's kind of the formal route. And then I suppose Swedish comes in here. So when I was about 35, jag började lära mig svenska. I started to learn Swedish because of Brexit, and I wanted to move to Sweden to be in the EU. And we were applying for jobs like crazy, and we nearly went. We nearly went. It was really close, and then it all fell through at the last minute. So I was learning Swedish like crazy because I thought I was moving there, definitely. And I did it for a year, and Swedish is so similar to English, and after having learned all of these other languages, the grammar wasn't particularly difficult. In many ways, it's much easier than German, for example. So I really dove quite deeply into Swedish, and I was watching Swedish programs, listening to Swedish music, studying Swedish every day, and trying to think in Swedish when I was in the shower, because I was so certain that we were going to live there. Jag älskar svenska. Jag älskar Sverige. Såklart. Men jag tycker om svenska. Svenska är bra. Det är en mycket vackert språk. Jag vill flytta till Sverige, men jag kan inte nu. Men i framtiden, jag hoppas att jag kan flytta till Sverige. Eller friend of mine asked me to help them learn Italian. And I admitted that I could understand loads, but I'd never taught it and I'd never got a qualification. And they said, it's fine, don't worry. Just help me with it. So I'd say that was at 38. So that was a year ago. And I've been doing Italian a lot. But unlike other languages like Korean and Chinese, and even Arabic that I've studied for ages, Italian I need to do very little and I can understand everything. I can read books in Italian, I can read newspapers, I can watch TV programs, the news, I can just chat away in Italian as much as I want to. It's so easy compared to Asian languages. And of course I'm a massive cheat because Italian is, I think it's 75% understandable with French and 60% with Spanish, and probably something similar with Portuguese. So I would say that those three languages, French, Portuguese and Spanish, are my strongest. Maybe alongside Welsh. So yeah, Italian really isn't an issue for me at all. Io posso parlare allora in italiano. È molto facile per me parlarle un po' in italiano perché io soltanto penso un po' in spagnolo e io dico le parole in italiano. Ecco, io parlo italiano. Certo, quando io parlo io faccio erri. Per esempio io sempre dico di cose in spagnolo quando io parlo italiano, molto rapide. O io immagino che una parola esiste. Per esempio ho detto in un video praticare e non so, ma qualcuno mi ha detto che questo non si può utilizzare come in inglese o in italiano, in spagnolo quando si dice I want to practice Italian, non si può dire io voglio praticare l'italiano. Questo non è possibile, altro verbo io non posso ricordare quale. So yeah, Italian's fine. And then apart from that, languages that I'm currently learning are Polish, there's an O, because I'm 39. Polish, I was learning a little bit of Indonesian the other day. Oh, Indon, I can spell. Indonesian. Swahili I was doing recently. Irish, Gaelic, Gaelic. What else have I been doing? Oh, Dutch. I do think I'll live in the Netherlands at some point. It is, along with Sweden, is kind of like my ideal country, but it's a lot closer to the UK than Sweden and a lot cheaper. And the people are just as nice. The culture is just as cool and open, and equality levels are really high, which is important to me. And I like its multicultural nature, and I think so. My experience of the Netherlands is very much that when I go to Spain, people speak to me in English because I'm so pale, they think he's not Spanish. Even though I respond in Spanish, sometimes they keep speaking English. And Spanish is my absolute strongest language after English, so it's frustrating for me when they're speaking in broken English and I'm speaking in absolutely fluent Spanish and they just refuse to give in, and I refuse to give in too. But they just can't get their head around the fact that I can speak Spanish. But in the Netherlands, people just speak to me in Dutch straight away. And I try my best to answer, and I try my best to order in bars and restaurants. Because I can kind of pass as a Dutch person, I guess. And I just find the Dutch accent really nice and really cool. I've been listening a lot today to Dutch music. I really like a couple of Dutch artists. How would I say that in Dutch? Ik heb vandaag veel muziek in Nederlands geluisterd. Ik hou van, who do I like? Tabitha en Nielsen. Yeah, they're my favorite too, I think. Nielsen and Tabitha. Ik hou van Nederland. Ik hou van Nederland. En ik wil daar leven. How would I say live? Wonen. Ik wil daar wonen. Otherwise, what else am I doing? Korean, Japanese, Portuguese, Welsh. I went to reach in my pocket and I thought I'll get my phone and find out, but actually I'm recording on my phone. Yeah, there are a couple of others, but those are the main ones that I'm learning at the moment, along with Russian and Italian and Chinese. I really like Duolingo. I've said before, I really like it. And yeah, so I'm probably going to stop the video there. I'll probably end up doing this video again at some point. But I can speak lots of other languages, a little bit here, a little bit there. I can speak some Greek, some Turkish, some Persian, Hindi. Oh yeah, I'm doing Hindi. Mujhe Hindi pasand hai. I like Hindi. It's a very cool language. Bengali, a little bit of Tamil. What else? Serbian, Armenian. Oh, Hebrew. I did Hebrew for years. I'm looking over my bookshelf. Yeah, I can understand quite a lot of Norwegian and Danish, written Danish, because of Swedish. Oh, Romanian. I'm doing Romanian as well on Duolingo. Cool language. Half Italian, half Russian. Very cool. Difficult grammar though. Yeah. Oh, and a bit of Finnish as well. I've been doing Suomi. Earlier on I was thinking about Finnish and I remembered the word velo, which is wizard. I mean, strange word to pick up first. I'm trying to think of hello and I can't. Hey is hello. I was thinking I just remember wizard. Just go to Finland and go velo. I'll leave it there. I've rambled for quite a long time today. So I hope you enjoyed the video anyway, and the splooges of foreign languages I went into. And yeah, just drop me a comment, tell me which languages you speak, and I'll catch up with you again soon, okay? Thanks for all your support, everyone, particularly all my subscribers, my patrons, and my channel supporters. Love you guys.